Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And earlier, I was on the west side of town in El Paso, and I spotted some crews. This is T-Mobile activity working on T-Mobile strand mounts. So they're moving the strand mounts, more and more of them, over onto N41. I fully predict, I'm 1,000% confident that this work will continue to run over into 2025 as we are almost done with 2024. I spotted two of these in progress. This one was actually being worked on, and then this one was completed. As you can see, there's the Air 4435 for N41, of course, that's immediately moved over to SA. These were not on yet, so I'll have to report back when these are turned on to see how they perform. But they've been building more and more and more of these. So they want to get done, and at least I think they want to get this done and over with. T-Mobile is a 5G business. Every single asset that they have deployed, they want it on the 5G. And I'm glad, because the LAA that was on these strand mounts, it just wasn't doing much, right? Even less range than what you're seeing from the N41, like way less range. N41 has far better range, far better penetration from the strand mount, even though these are just one directional, right? You don't really get like a 360 coverage from these. This is just one directional, feeding one area that probably needed offloading during LTE. So now T-Mobile is putting additional capacity into these areas specifically for these strand mounts. So it's good to see. I hope they can work through this through 2025 and get this done and over with in 25. I hope this doesn't linger on into 2026. In my opinion, really no need to. Not much macro activity from T-Mobile in terms of the local market getting a huge investment, but they are going to have to make I would say, pretty sizable investment into these strand mounts. They have a lot of them. They have a lot of them in the Northeast, downtown. They have a good amount on the east side. They have a good amount on the west side. So they definitely invested a lot into these during LTE when they were starting to get really congested. I remember reporting that to the local engineering team for the market, and they said this was back in 2017. They said we're looking into options on offloading, and this was, for the most part, this was the option they chose to put out these strand mounts. They have some other different builds, but they're also only one directional for my market. They haven't built any C-RAN that we've seen from AT&T and Verizon. So the T-Mobile hasn't built any of those. Their engineer, they made that decision to really just build the one directional small cells. But I will add in, they have a fairly tight macro grid. So, not a lot of C-RAN really needed from that perspective. They're just looking at fixing certain areas that need better RSRP, better capacity. For an example, AT&T, the C-RAN is really necessary for El Paso because the macro grid is not as tight. T-Mobile's macro grid is very, very, very tight. And so is Verizon's, but we all know Verizon's strategy is different. They're building, from the build that I've seen Verizon do when they built their C-RAN, it's really mostly meant for FWA. Of course, some of that is offloading the wireless side, but they really don't need much of those. They have a fairly dense macro grid, but they're doing a lot of that, especially the standalone small cells that are millimeter wave only. That's all FWA work. It's a limited range. Outside of that range, it doesn't present much more benefit other than point-to-point millimeter wave. So from a mobile perspective, they built a lot of the millimeter wave only nodes. And from a mobile perspective, once you leave and get outside of the range of those, you're not getting much benefit from them. So that's really Verizon seeking return on that investment through FWA. But this is clearly a mobile build for T-Mobile, these strand mounts. So they're still trying to enhance and better the network. But I think for the most part, They just want to get these modernized over the 5G and be done with it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you've seen some of these in your market. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.